Phase Day to be celebrated on December 21st. Is the brain dreaming during sleep paralysis? Scientists study Jesus' near-death experience and other news. Welcome to Phase Today. This is the first news media about lucid dreams, sleep paralysis, and other phase states. Are you ready? Phase Day to be celebrated on December 21st. December 21st is not yet on the list of official holidays, but we consider it the most important day of the year for all those who practice the various phase states, because tonight is the longest night of the year for the inhabitants of the Northern Hemisphere. The effect will last for several more nights. The winter solstice is celebrated by almost all the cultures around the world. For example, in China, the Dongji festival is held to celebrate the birth of a new cycle. In ancient Greece, it was believed that on this day, the god of the underworld, Hades, climbed up to Olympus to show his face. And in Russia, it is the day that marks the national holiday Kolyada. As we know, long sleep is the key to an effective lucid dreaming experience and the success of your practice. So, this night, while falling asleep, be sure to remember your goals in the phase, read the experience of other phasers for programming the subconscious, and dive into a parallel world. We wish you successful lucid dreams, out-of-body experiences, and other phase states tonight, and in the upcoming nights. Be sure to congratulate your fellow practitioners on this holiday. Is the brain dreaming during sleep paralysis? Scientists studying sleep disorders at the Pitié-Salpêtrière University Hospital in Paris have published a new study on sleep paralysis using electroencephalogram data. In EEG analysis, special frequency ranges are used to detect the state of wakefulness or REM sleep. The goal of the scientists was to understand how the phase states differ from wakefulness, because it is generally believed that, for the brain, the phase is an intermediate state between sleep and wakefulness. The authors of the experiment, led by Greta Manieri, MD, were able to record the characteristics of polysomnography in 4 participants during sleep paralysis and false awakenings, and then in the waking state and during REM sleep. The data obtained showed that during sleep paralysis and false awakenings, more than 70% of the EEG was occupied by the theta rhythm of the brain, an indicator characteristic of the REM sleep state. Thus, it is assumed that during these episodes, the brain is not in a state of wakefulness, but still in a dream. There's a reason, therefore, why sleep paralysis has long been a phenomenon associated with REM sleep. The study was published in December 2020 in the Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine. Xbox released Lucid Dreams ad. In early December 2020, Xbox released a series of promotional videos called Power Your Dreams. The plot of the ads is based on the scientific achievements of lucid dreaming investigations that were published in the autumn issue of the Consciousness and Cognition magazine. We reported on the articles this magazine published on the use of VR technologies in the phase and the new device for dream control. The protagonists of the videos are gamers who took part in an experiment on visualizing lucid dreams. Participants played an X-Series console and then entered a state of hypnagogia, an intermediate state between sleep and wakefulness, using the special hypnodyne tracker that scientists often use in their research. In this state, they were asked to describe their dreams. The events of their real lucid dreams were then brought to life in a video series shot by famous directors, the first of whom was the Oscar-winning screenwriter and director Taika Waititi. He visualized the dream of the player and blogger Moonlight Wolf, titled Lucid Dreams Odyssey. In this video, a girl travels to fantastic places in her lucid dream, with a luminous rabbit directing the plot of the dream. On the YouTube channel of the game console manufacturer, you can also watch a video of how the dream tracking experiment itself took place with the participation of the players. While the experiment raises some questions, we now know for sure that Microsoft has turned its attention to lucid dreams. What do you think they might have planned? Scientists study Jesus' near-death experience. Many ancient cultures testify that people in the olden days already had ideas about the afterlife and leaving the body during near-death experiences. In particular, such references can be found in the early texts from the times of Jesus Christ. Assessing the life of Jesus in terms of his historical personality and the documented evidence of his life in the Gospels, the German researcher Thomas Fuhrmann came up with an interesting hypothesis. He suggests that Jesus' mission may have been a consequence of a profound near-death experience earlier in his life. Fuhrmann analyzed the statements of Jesus on the Grayson scale used in the scientific community for evaluating the near-death experience, and found that they matched a lot of the scale's criteria. Referring to the quotes from the Gospels, the researcher draws attention to the fact that Jesus saw a bright light, communicated directly with God, saw and heard otherworldly things, had ideas about future events, foresight, and urged his disciples to evaluate their actions from the point of view of the kingdom of heaven, or afterlife. He also preached peace and love and felt a sense of oneness with the world, nature, and God, sensations characteristics of people who've gone through a near-death experience. Jesus contrasted the flesh and the spirit, mind-body dualism, which can also indicate that he'd had an experience of leaving the body. But the most interesting match is that with the criterion of passing the point of no return on the Grayson scale. After all, Jesus was fully convinced that God had sent him to earth to fulfill his mission. This statement bears a clear resemblance to the testimony of people who've had near-death experiences, who claim they were sent back to earth to complete their affairs. Do you think that Jesus could have had a profound near-death experience that became the starting point of his faith? The study was published in the European Journal of Science and Theology in October 2020. Is stress a cause of sleep paralysis? Isolated sleep paralysis, not associated with sleep disorders such as narcolepsy, occurs at least once in up to 40% of people. Relapses of this episode are less common and are classified as REM sleep disorders. Like nightmares, isolated sleep paralysis can disrupt the natural sleep cycle and therefore requires treatment. Austrian scientists Ambra Stefani and Brigitte Hogel from the Department of Neurology at the Medical University of Innsbruck discussed the methods used to treat sleep paralysis in an article published in November 2020. Based on previous scientific studies, the researchers conclude that chronic sleep deprivation disturbed circadian rhythms, body clocks, and sleep patterns associated with modern lifestyle induce stress that contributes to sleep paralysis. Changing these factors is the key to a successful treatment. Likewise, the scientists know that sleep paralysis occurs more often when the sleeper is lying on their back. Thus, patients can be advised to change their sleeping position. Another factor that aggravates the incidence of sleep paralysis is jet lag, after which it is recommended to get quality rest. Because the episodes stop spontaneously or upon sensory stimulation, such as when someone touches a person or sounds an alarm, the patient's partners can also be advised to touch the subject if they hear rapid breathing or other signs of sleep paralysis. In especially severe cases, cognitive behavioral therapy of patients is indicated. Some of you have experienced sleep paralysis. Was it due to the stress or a lack of sleep? Share your experiences in the comments. The study was published in November 2020 in the journal Neurotherapeutics. A mask for lucid dreaming. The question is, what color? Jose Emma Ponte Urmaneta, a student at the University of Twente in the Netherlands, published a thesis on designing a sleep monitoring device to induce lucid dreaming. The project was based on the research of one of the founders of the lucid dreaming method, Stephen Leberg. The author used flashing lights as an external signal, a technique that has been proven effective. The device looks like a sleep mask with a software module, an optocoupler, an infrared LED array, and a phototransistor for detecting eye movement during sleep. The LED starts flashing when REM is detected, indicating a dream. Analyzing the pros and cons of existing technologies, Jose Urmeneta is looking for ways to improve on the first version of the device. For example, research is currently underway on the effect of the color of light in a dream tracker, as well as on the ideal combination of flashing or continuous colored light. The author hopes that the algorithm's optimization will ultimately lead to the creation of a completely autonomous product for inducing lucid dreams. Although for a third of a century such devices have not met expectations in practice, hope remains that this problem will eventually be solved. Have you ever used similar masks? Did it work for you? The research was published in June 2020. As you can see, our topic is actively developing. In order not to miss new discoveries, right now subscribe to our channel and follow us on social media, where we publish news daily. All links are in the description. See you next week.